All right, so today we are going to cover why do kids lie?
Why do kids lie?
Yeah,
So I always tell parents children lie because it's not safe to tell the truth.
okay.
What do you think about that?
It's not safe to tell the truth.
Not safe to tell the truth.
Okay. Like they
Yeah.
think they're going to get in trouble
Yeah.
if they tell the truth. Okay,
And they're
that
going to
makes
be in
sense.
big trouble. And I think that's the case with all of us, whether we're adults or children. We think we're going to get in big trouble.
Yeah.
And so we go back to a concept that we often taught in our family and that we teach in parenting workshops. The concept is you don't get in trouble, you just get to be responsible. What did you think about that growing up? You don't get in trouble, you just get to be responsible.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure being little, I didn't love it always.
Yeah.
But as an adult, I feel like I was independent from a young age because of that. I learned how to take care of things and going off on my own. I learned that really quickly.
But it's challenging. So, but
Yes.
if you knew you're never going to get in trouble, you just get to be responsible. It isn't. You're not afraid to come forward and talk about the facts or talk about things that happen.
Sure.
One of my favorite stories to tell about this is when our kids were downstairs playing on an old pool table, and that was before your time. Some of the older boys. Yeah, and the neighbor boy was over playing, and there were these big fluorescent lights. There were 4 big long fluorescent lights
Okay.
above the pool table. And one of the kids poked their pool stick up and hit the fluorescent lights, and
Oh, dear.
all the glass just dropped on the pool table.
Oh, wow.
The first thing the neighbor boy said to our son was, "Don't tell your dad. Don't tell your dad." And our son looked up and he said, "Why not?" He said, "We're going to be in so much trouble." And our son, because he had been trained similar to how you've been trained, he said, "You're not going to get in trouble. You just got to be responsible." And he came upstairs and he said, "Hey, Dad, we just broke the 4 fluorescent lights on top of the pool table, and all the lights crashed down, broken glass everywhere." And I said, "Well, I think there's the vacuum cleaners in the other room. There might be some new lights in the storage room." And this our son's friend came up to me and literally he walked up and he put his hand on my forehead and said, "Are you okay, Mr. McKee?" And I said, "What?"
You didn't yell at me?
Yeah. He said, "My dad would have killed me." I said, "And for what?
Yeah.
Did you do it on purpose? Did you break all those lights on purpose?" And he said, "No." And I said, "Well, take responsibility, get them fixed, do what you need to do. And if you need to go buy some new ones, go buy some new ones." But the point is, I think so many times in families, we think there must be an immediate punishment for some things. Now I do believe there needs to be consequences for all things.
Sure.
But it doesn't need to be punishment. And so the concept, if you don't get in trouble, you just get to be responsible. Take responsibility if you hit your sister, or hit your brother, or take responsibility if you break something or cut something or hurt somebody's feelings or whatever. Take responsibility for it.
Okay.
You're not bad. You're not in trouble.
So what do you do with somebody who maybe a teenager who this hasn't been taught to and is a consistent liar? How do you start?
Well, and start by saying, did you do that on purpose? Did you really mean to really hurt that person, or did you really mean to break that, or do it, or you did? You're not in trouble here.
Yeah.
Mistakes happen, and our job is to clean them up. We have another fun story. Do we have time for this?
Sure. Yeah.
I call it the parable of the spilled milk. So every once in a while, Renee and I would say, everybody in a family, a big family like ours with 10 children, and we actually have, we had a foster grandma at one point that was 93 years old that we cared for. Somebody always spills their milk at the dinner table.
Yeah.
And so it was so funny because somebody would spill their milk and they'd say, "I didn't do that. She did that. He did that." They blame it on somebody else.
Of course. Yeah.
Immediately, because they didn't want to get in trouble, of course.
Right.
And then someone would spill their milk and they'd go hide in the other room. They'd hide in the bathroom or hide in the closet or hide somewhere else because they didn't want to be found. It's like, I'm not going to be found. I'm not going to be held accountable for this. And then the real fun one was a 2-year-old that would spill their milk, and it would be something like this. Like some dumb adult come and clean me up because I'm not moving.
Mm-hmm.
And they'd wait for somebody else to take responsibility. And then every once in a while, someone would spill their milk, and they'd just go pick up a rag and clean it up. And Mom and I would go, high five. They cleaned it up. They took responsibility. And I think it's that way in all of life. We can either run away from something we've done wrong. We can hide. We can yell and blame somebody else for it, or throw a tantrum, until somebody else comes and takes responsibility. Or we can blame and find fault with somebody else, or we can just go clean it up.
Yeah.
I think with all of life, if we can practice that concept of that skill of, you're not in trouble, you just get to clean it up, you just get to take responsibility, it will help kids not to lie.
Yeah.
Because we lie to try to keep out of trouble.
Sure. So emphasizing that before the lie even happens, really.
Because typically, what do most parents do?
Cover
If someone
up
lies, we go,
Oh,
You're not supposed to lie. We don't lie, and
Yeah.
the kids don't lie. You know?
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, that's what we do typically.
Right.
We immediately try to shame or teach them that we don't lie.
Yeah.
And the bottom line is people lie because they're afraid.
Don't want to get in trouble.
We'll get into fear later on.
Yeah, I love
Okay.
that. So what about when a kid is lying and they continue lying and you know they're lying,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't want to make them feel bad.
Right.
Or even if you don't know.
So
how do you
something,
handle
if you
a
really
lie?
do know they're lying, I think a real great thing to do is just stop and say, well, I wonder how long it's going to take before someone finds out that you really did take that money, or that you really did take that thing, or you really did do this. And you just keep talking to them about it, When you're ready to be responsible, let me know.
Yeah.
Just keep putting it back on them like they have to be the one.
And what if you don't know it's
So if you don't know that's them, you're just guessing. You're going to have to wait till you find that out because you don't want to falsely accuse somebody that really did. Maybe they didn't really.
Right.
Really didn't do it.
Yeah.
And I remember as a little boy getting blamed for something my neighbor kid did, and I was so frustrated that my dad spanked me for doing it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I think you need to know that.
Yeah, because you kind of have to be careful because sometimes they are telling the truth too, and you'll lose trust as a parent
Right.
if you don't validate the truth they actually speak as well.
But the whole concept of making a safe place for your child to always tell you. Then you're going to have children that come and tell you, the neighbor boy touched me, or the neighbor boy hit me, or whatever, in a healthy environment.
Yes.
And what do we do to be responsible for that kind of behavior?
Yeah, then they feel safe with
They can tell you anything.
telling you the hard things, telling you about their cell phone and their hard things they
Now, wouldn't it be
find.
great if your child came home and said, "Oh, somebody sent me a nude on the cell phone today," and you can talk about that as a parent with that going.
Yeah.
But a lot of parents say, "Wow,
And then
why
but their
did
kid
that
is in
happen?"
trouble.
Yeah.
and-
So, you say,
So
let's
of
talk
course
about-
they'd lie that
Yeah.
everything's going great on their phone.
So let's talk about that. So.
That's good. Okay, well, let us know if you have any questions about that concept and any other things. We'd love to hear back from you.
All right.